This is Amy Kohler with Dakota College at Botano Horticulture Greenhouse, and this is Green Thursdays. And today we are talking about the Aquaponics program. So just to remind everyone, during the month of May, we've been working with the organization Farms, doing a spring farm tour. So the first week we talked just over all the different horticulture programs in general in the greenhouse. Last week you guys were with GK and Keith Knutson about the hot production program, and this week we're back with GK in the Aquaponics greenhouse, where GK is going to talk about aquaponics and the program that we have here and some of the great activities we have going on. So stay tuned, and we'll hopefully you'll learn a lot of new and great stuff. And then again, join us next Thursday, where we'll be doing a tour of the DCB high tunnels and looking at our specialty crop production program as well. So have fun, and we will get going. All right, GK, your turn.
Hey guys, very good afternoon. I'm GK from India. I'm here for my aquaponics program. That's what I actually came here for. I'm also taking up the hemp program at the same time, just as I told you last week. Well, why I came into aquaponics is because of the things that I saw back home. There were a lot of problems with farmers. There were a lot of droughts, due to which farmers weren't able to grow anything. Soil fertility, and even sometimes light at the same time. There was no good sunlight because of the pollution levels which were going up. So I started looking at something which is really organic without using any soil, because the soil was really getting bad, and there were places which were getting very arid. So I started looking for organic ways of producing, and a sustainable way of producing food, let that be not just vegetables but also proteins at the same time. So I started looking at aquaculture, and aquaculture was something that really interested me, which was more towards fish or growing anything with water and culturing them and harvesting them for a commercial purpose. That was the entire point. But later I realized what's the aquaculture industry doing, where most of the nutrient-rich water after the fish is being harvested is just being dumped, which is really bad, bringing up the pollution levels in the water, and even taking out the native species that are there. So I thought we should definitely utilize that, and I found out that there's a way to do it. That's how I came into aquaponics, where you grow fish, and rather than utilizing the waste, you use the recirculating aquaculture system and break down the fish's waste, which is the ammonia, or the fish which is or the feed which is given to the fish, is broken down from ammonia into nitrites by our bacteria, for which we have a lot of surface area where the bacteria can survive on. And as the water flows through the surface areas, these bacteria break down the ammonia into nitrites and into the form of nitrates, and that is when the nutrition is available for the plants to go ahead and intake. In the nitrite form, they are not able to go ahead and do it, and the bacteria help us. And the other good part about aquaculture is it uses just 1/10 of the water. Actually solved one of the things that I was thinking of, where I wanted to use less amount of water as much as I could. So aquaponics gave me that solution, where it was just using 1/10 of the water rather than what a traditional agriculture would take. And I even looked into hydroponics, but for some reason it was just vegetables and herbs and greens. So I thought we should have some protein diet too. That's why I made sure I got down to aquaponics. And I also researched what are the things that I grew that I can grow in aquaponics. I knew a lot of the things in theory, but I did not have hands-on experience. Theory, it might be something, but when you're actually doing it, the outcome or the results might be totally different, even though it's a controlled environment. So I actually decided to take a course. There were so many courses that were there around in most of the countries, but I really wanted to come to a place where people are really happy and always ready to help. There are not too many people around, not too many students, so your professor can focus on you, or at least help you out with anything. That is something that I was looking at, because I had a very short time that I had to learn aquaponics. And I found out about DCB. They're not just talking about aquaponics, but also various other programs that really interested me, and also the wildlife and the location of Botany that we're in. So that pulled me up over here into DCB. And since the time I have started taking this program, I have learned a lot, I have researched a lot. And whenever I'm working with the fish, the balance of working with the fish and the plants, that is also a little tricky, because the pH of the water is pH of the water determines how your plants will react and how your fish will react. So we really have to strike that balance in aquaculture, or aquaponics, I'm sorry to be specific. And learning that is a very, very important step of you or an individual if you want to grow something commercially. That is something that you definitely should know, because you should not be relying on somebody else to come and help you out when there is an issue. And when you do not have a backup plan at the same time, your system might fail if you're not fixing it immediately, and due to which you might lose your fish. And if you lose your fish, you might lose your plants because they are not getting the nutrients that they need, because they are already accustomed to the nutrients. And when you change the way of the intake of the nutrients, they would not be able to survive that much. So striking that balance is something that I really needed to learn, and Keith Knudsen, my instructor, really helped me out in striking that balance of understanding what pH plants like and what pH fish would like, and how I can go ahead and balance that, adding some just basic nutrients, which are organic nutrients, and make sure you can still strike that balance with plants and fish. I have tried a lot of stuff. There were question marks that I had on what I can grow, what I cannot grow, but I can definitely say after taking the program that I can grow anything in aquaponics. It's just a limitation of my thinking and my thoughts, I think. But today I have gone to a point where we have done a lot of stuff. I've never done any fish baiting before. I've never had any hands-on experience on how to breed the fish. When I came here, I was a guy who did not know anything about fish at all. Now, once I took this program, I understood how fish live, how fish survive, and I came up with a breeding program on how to breed tilapias. So whoever comes here will also learn that program on how to breed tilapias right now, how to efficiently breed them, and you don't have to wait for some other source to ship the fish to you and something happens to the fish down in the shipping or the transportation. You can avoid all of that. So right now I have 3 generations of fish that I have successfully bred. These are the fish that I bred in the month of April. They're close to 30 to 45 days right now, and that's how big they are. I've got a couple more batches that I have done, and they're doing really good in this system. These are some beds, rock beds that we use here. There's a lot of bacteria which are surviving in these beds, which are not visible to our naked eyes, but they are breaking down all the ammonia that is coming from the fish tanks or the sump tank, which is collected in the sump tank back into the system. And this is one of the first filtration systems where the ammonia is breaking down. And then we also have another filtration system that happens in the bioball system that we will show you later. Now, currently we are growing some lettuce and some herbs in this aquaponics system. We also have cucumbers and tomatoes. If you come a little further onto this side, you can see some more fish that I had bred. These are December born. They were all born in December. Luckily, I did not have any any fish which died recently, but there was a mishap that happened. I just lost 3 fish yesterday. Apart from that, I did not have any deaths at all, so my mortality rate is very less. And I have also learned how to balance the light requirements, because I'm growing indoors. In aquaponic systems, you are growing indoors. Excuse me, how important light is. So I understood how to measure light. I did not know how to measure light to make sure that the plants are getting adequate light indoors. So now I know how to strike that balance, which way a greenhouse should be. That's another thing that I learned while taking this program, which is the right way to go ahead and face your greenhouse so that you will get the maximum amount of light to grow all the things that you need. Another major benefit about aquaponics that I can definitely think about is the pollution levels that you can control, because you are growing in a controlled environment and you are using a freshwater source rather than a source which is just lying out there. So you do not have any contaminants which are coming from the outside unless somebody brings it into your greenhouse. If not, you do not have even pest issues. If somebody brings it in, that's when you would have pest issues. But also at the same time, when I think of aquaponics, the best part is things grow really fast compared to any other traditional systems. Traditional systems would take, for example, when I think of percentage, there is close to 15 to 25% of faster growth of plants in aquaponics compared to most of the other ways of farming. That is a major advantage right now, because right now the population is increasing and we got a lot of mouths to feed. And aquaponics will not just provide a solution on growing stuff in smaller spaces, but it can also produce a lot of food which will sustain a lot of people too at the same time. And you don't have to grow just one kind of stuff. You don't have to do a monoculture. You can do a permaculture. You can have different things which will just be cycling around, which would be in a recirculation system. So you don't have to replenish things. You just have to feed the fish, and the system automatically takes care of itself, and the plants would automatically keep growing. Yeah, but all that you would have to definitely learn is making sure that there is no dead media. Like in theory, this is something that people would not talk about. But if you have dead matter in their system, that means that your pH would go up and your fish would not do really good. So we try to strike that balance, make sure that we get that hands-on experience, to make sure that we do not have any dead matter, and we also take away any dead leaves that might be there on the plants as much as we can. But things grow really fast and grow out of control here that sometimes we cannot even keep up with things. These are some of the tomatoes that we had put in the month of August, I guess. And these are indeterminate, so they keep growing. They don't have a limit to grow. Determinants are the ones which have a limit. They cannot grow beyond a certain point. But determinants, they can keep growing. And these are all clones that we had used. That's another thing that I learned in aquaponics course, or the degree or the program that we had, on how to clone mother plants, or how to save mother plants, and how to use clones to increase your production. That is something that I really wanted to learn, because when I start my own business, or when I have somebody working under me, I should know what they should be doing to even explain them what they should be doing. So this hands-on experience gives me that knowledge on how to explain things to people so that they comprehend why we do it, because most of the people fail to understand why things are important when we ask somebody to do some things. The other things that we're growing are some cucumbers. We have some basil. Basil does really good in our system, and anything that we grow in our system usually tastes really sweet.
It's delicious.
Tomatoes, yeah. Let that be tomatoes or cucumbers or anything else. As a matter of fact, we have grown kale, we have grown rhubarbs, we have grown pineapples, we have grown grapes. Grapes have done really good. We also have some nasturtium. So we keep trying different stuff, and this hands-on experience is something that I really wanted. Even though there is a lot of information online, it can contradict sometimes. That information can contradict. So it's better to have a subject matter expert guide you. This is something that the aquaculture program is really helping me do with. I'm really happy here. That's what I can say. I'm really happy with the program. And I think that'll be it. Not much is there to talk about, but was there any questions or anything that anybody asked that they wanted to know? Okay, cool.
If you guys haven't figured it out, I've been snacking while recording. It's good.
So currently this is a summer break, so everybody, all the students are gone right now. I still work here as an intern, both on the hemp program and also the aquaponics and even the greenhouse at the same time. So handling all these things give me a very good knowledge when I move out of here. I can start my own greenhouse that way, and also manage the greenhouse in an efficient way. And I also know about how important it is to be sustainable as possible, and reduce pollution as much as we can. So this is definitely the solution moving forward. No matter what, when I think of farming, vertical farming and aquaponics is the solution. Even NASA is doing it. I don't know if a lot of people know that.
Aeroponics.
Yeah, they've been doing aeroponics, but they want to move to aquaponics because they noticed that most of the astronauts were not getting the nutrients, proteins exactly. So they think that aquaponics will be that solution where the farmers will get not just the vegetables but also the nutrients and the proteins in the form of fish that they can always go ahead and harvest.
We have a question from Stephanie Bloomhagen. What can a student do with an aquaponics degree when they graduate?
Oh, okay. They can get into anything that is got into fish, or they can get into wildlife life for fish too at the same time. They can become an aquaculture manager. They can grow multiple species. They can become a scientist, a fish scientist too, if they want to, with respect to wetlands and ecosystems. They can move towards that. That's a very, very good area to focus on, because there is a lot of wetlands which need attention, and aquaponics will give you that stepping stone or the ladder to understand how wetlands exactly work and what are the bacteria like planktons or zooplanktons or phytoplanktons that you would need to make sure that the ecosystem would survive. Apart from that, there are lots of other job opportunities too when I think about it. You can raise fish if you want to just go towards the fish end, where you can just raise fish to eat. Also at the same time, you can grow only ornamental fish if you want to. If you want, just grow guppies or grow goldfish or catfish or arowana or whatever fish you want. You can just go specifically towards that too.
So you could have two products that you're producing at the same time as an entrepreneur, farmer, business person.
Yes, definitely yes. And when you think about the pollution, or when you think about a citizen, you're also not polluting the environment. And at the same time, you can also get some tax rebates from the government saying that you've been a very good person and you've done some CO2 sequestering and you've made sure all the greenhouse gases have been taken out, even with your functions and what you're doing. There is more carbon dioxide taken out of the system and release of more oxygen and stuff. But apart from that, when I think of it, you can also become a specific fish breeder too. Like if you go to a hatchery, you would have to know how to handle fish. Aquaponics can also be that stepping stone. For you to get into a fish hatchery, a specific fish hatchery too, if you want to, like especially salmons. If you can get into salmon hatcheries. As soon as you get out, that's what they want. When I think about the aquaculture side too, not just aquaponics, when I think about the aquaculture side too, the RAS industry, or the recirculating aquaculture system industry, is really looking for skilled professionals. So when you do an aquaponics degree, or when you get an aquaponics degree, they are just looking for the people who have those skill sets right now, because there is a difference of 25 to 35% of the demand and what is currently there, or the employment that is there. So these are some of the avenues that I can think about. But apart from that, you can also just go towards the plant side. Even if you want, just go to grow plants. You can do that, because aquaponics is not just talking about growing fish, but you can also grow plants without the fish too. So you also know the hydroponics part. So you're not just left in one stream, but you can also get into the hydroponics stream at the same time, not just aquaponics stream.
And where hydroponics, the biggest difference is, instead of using the fish waste for the nutrients in the water, you have to add that within some kind of fertilizer form,
yes,
right?
Exactly. You would have to buy the nutrients from a source, a recognized source, which is really reputable, because if the nutrients that you would be adding into your system is not organic, then you cannot sell your products as organic. So that is why I was actually looking towards the aquaponics side, because hydroponics, no matter what, there can be always debates that the organics or the nutrients that you have used is not organics. But in aquaculture, aquaponics, that's totally eliminated. But you can always use that. You always have that knowledge of getting into hydroponics. You also have aeroponics, or even go into bioponics, depending on your interest. Yes, there are plenty of avenues that you can get into.
A lot of the hands-on experience and grow systems you learn about can be applied at the different types of growing, not just aquaponics.
Yes, not just aquaponics.
Greenhouse operations,
yes.
Production of non-food crops like hemp and
yes.
ornamental plants and things like that.
Mini trees. You can grow mini trees. There's a guy in Bangladesh who specializes in only growing in mini trees using aquaponics. So that is something that I'm interested in doing too. I would want to grow some mini trees, especially some oranges. That's one of my favorite fruits. So I would want to grow some.
Not
oranges.
kumquats. You didn't like the kumquats we have here in the greenhouse. Too sour.
No, that's really sour. Not those. The ones really sweet ones. So I'll move towards those. But also at the same time, I have grown stuff that I never thought that I could grow in the aquaculture system. At the same time, I understood the importance of bacteria and how small we are in the living world. Because
bacteria.
Yes, these are the bioball tanks that we are talking about, where our bacteria would survive. I'll just grab one of these. If you notice, there is a different color in between. Those are all the bacteria that are living in our system. and these are breaking down all the nitrites into nitrates for the plants to go ahead and be available.
Fish poop water.
Yeah, fish poop. Yeah, but there would be no fish poop here that will be visible to your eyes because it's already been broken down into minor small particles. That is when these bacteria are able to break it down really, really fast. The smaller the poop size, the faster it breaks down. So we already have a sump tank where all the fish poop is separately collected and then comes into it. So whatever we produce here will never ever come directly in contact with fish poop ever at all. And even any parts of the plant will not get in touch with the water here apart from the root system. The top level system would never have any water sprayed at all. Just the root system would get all the water. That minimizes the pest issues that we face, because when you are watering most of the times in greenhouses, you would definitely wet the plants, which will retain more water, and a stagnant water is very, very dangerous. It stinks.
Yep.
If you have noticed, it stinks like crazy. So that brings in also pest issues, but with this technique, you can reduce that pest issues. Yes, you do have pest issues. I'm not saying you do not have pest issues, but if you can manage with some predatory insects, you would be better off managing your aquaponics unit, I would say. Alright, I think that'll be all, but would there be anything else that people wanted to ask? I think I have covered most of it, what I can talk about in aquaponics. But if you want, I can talk about the history.
Oh, we'll be here all day, but that actually leads me into it. So, like I've said before, I know things are changing. We're starting on a volunteer basis, very small. The college is starting to open up. We're not exactly opened up yet to visitors, but hopefully soon we'll see how things go in the world. But eventually, once we are opened up, we love to have visitors. We love to answer questions. And then you can always just contact us as well if you have any questions about today or anything you've seen in the past. I can always connect you with our instructor, with other students. We love to share information, and that's what we love to do here. And we love to help people get that hands-on experience and learn more about what we do. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, GK, for joining us as well. Like I said, he's our jack of all trades. He does our hemp, he does our aquaponics. He's working full-time on the farm, our DCB farm this year, so he's learning how to grow plants out in a field, in soil. That's something new for him.
I'm learning farm equipment, how to use farm equipment.
Yep, how to use farm equipment, all that great stuff, all those hands-on opportunities that as a student, as a summer worker here, he gets. So when he eventually when he decides to leave us, you'll have all this great hands-on knowledge to work with.
Yes.
So thank you again, everyone. This is Green Thursdays, and please join us next week for our tour of the DCB High Tunnels and Farm with April and myself. So we'll see you guys later.
Yes,
bye.
Hasta la vista.